And then he said, let there be light. I'm kind of rearranging my setup because I have a kind of like a big belt grinder showing up today, a 2x72. It was recommended by a lot of people, working with the smaller 1x30 and then the 4x I think 36, which is really slow. Belts go by fast because they're so small and they don't spin very fast. So they don't move metal very fast. It's supposed to be showing up today, so we'll get to work on that. Today we're going to be turning this gear from a motorcycle transmission. I can only assume that it came out of the same bike that the camshaft came out of. We've got a bunch of spare parts from other motorcycles and stuff laying around that I just kind of pick off of and stuff, and I like to make knives out of. But this is a gear from a motorcycle. It comes off the whole transmission assembly like so. You know, it sits on there, blah, blah, blah. You guys get the idea. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this right there and then heat it up and then flatten this out in the forge and try to see if I can't start making a billet out of this, and then we'll design a knife. So let's do that. That is one ugly profile of a blade. Let me let you guys know what's going on in my head here before we continue. I'd like to say most of the time, if not all of the time, I like to really do my best to kind of forge to shape, forge to finish. Do my absolute best to leave myself as little room on the grinder as I have to, for several reasons. This does not look like a knife, does it? I mean, it's got knife properties, I assume. These lines, I wasn't really sure how this was gonna pan out, but it seems like for the most part, up here they kind of spread out a lot better, more how I thought they were gonna spread out. Down here, however, they're still pretty much all the way through, and this is a weak spot in the blade, which means that I'm gonna have to grind all of this down, which still leaves us about that much up for the top of a blade, right? Well, the problem is, this side's kind of worse over here than down here. So we've got low profile cuts here, and high profile cuts here, but we've got low profile cuts here and high profile cuts here. I think I can turn this into a knife. I do. How good of a knife and how big of a knife is dictated by how much I can grind away and see when these lines end. I'm gonna go assemble my new belt grinder, which just showed up, and then we'll grind away what we don't need, see if we can't get a knife out of this thing. I really don't want to give up on this thing yet because I think it'll make a cool knife. And there she is. Yes, eyes and respirator. Definitely need a respirator. You're gonna be kicking up a lot of dirt with this. This thing's loud. Say about that. The amount of metal and material this thing takes off in just a short amount of time is ridiculous. very impressed with the way this knife is turning out so far. Very shiny, very smooth. I mean, I still have some minor touch-ups to do. I really didn't mean to make it this sharp right now. This is probably the sharpest knife I've made to date, and I can't say anything but that's a good belt sander, belt grinder, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's already razor sharp. That was 100% on accident. It's on accident because I haven't quenched it yet, and I'd prefer to get a good quench in before I do that. I'm gonna go ahead and drill my holes in the tang now before I quench, because that way when it hardens, I won't have to worry about fighting drill bits and stuff like that. I think my camera accidentally messed up. I unplugged it and I think I just lost that video footage. What I did was I just ended up smoothing this little bit out with a file. It's just a piece of brass tubing or a hollow brass dowel, whatever you refer to it as, that I'm just going to slip into this big hole that I've smoothed out here as a lanyard holster. So I've got my 2 holes drilled for the pins, and then this one will be for the lanyard as well. But you guys know the process. I normalize it 3 times to make sure that all the stress in the metal is relieved, or as much as it can be, and then I will quench. Accidentally sat my tongs on my leather gloves, or a pair of them anyway, and they are buffed. They're done. Throw them in the pile. I actually quenched twice. The first time I quenched, I got a warp and it didn't harden up. Second time I quenched though, got the warp out and it's hardened. It's not quite as hard as some of the other stuff that I've worked with. Definitely could be harder, but considering that this is made out of a gear, probably the best it's gonna get. So knock off all the scale and finishing touches, and then handle. Just shreds. Do I need to do the hair test? You probably. To please you guys, I'll do the hair test. One swipe, bald. Just one swipe, just all my hair gone. Super sharp. Silicone mold. Alrighty, mixing my 3rd set of handles. Just a sprinkle of these 2 colors mixed in between these pieces of wood will look really good. While we wait for that to dry, we'll go ahead and throw this in the oven and temper it.